I want to talk about the needs that we need to meet in marriage. And the importance of meeting our needs in marriage, each other's needs, it's what maintains the attraction in the relationship. It's what keeps the marriage good. When you ask a person if they have a good marriage and they say yes, or if they say no, we really measure that mostly by met needs. If my need, and by the way, if my needs are getting met today, I just assume they're going to be met in the future. So I feel good about the marriage today and looking forward. But if I say that my marriage isn't good, it's because either some of my primary needs or my needs in general are just not being met. And that also makes me pessimistic to the future because I think I'm going to live another 5 years or 10 years or 20 years without my needs getting met. And it can become very disappointing. Now that's the way our marriage was when we first got married. We were not meeting each other's needs. I certainly was not meeting Karen's most important needs. The other importance of meeting each other's needs is it closes the door on outside attraction. And we know that there's a lot of infidelity in marriages today. There's a lot of temptation in marriages today. Nothing ever justifies adultery or cheating. Nothing ever does. But understand, in 1 Corinthians 7, the Apostle Paul, he was talking about sex. And he said, we need to meet each other's needs. And he said, because our bodies don't belong to ourselves. When we get married, we literally give the authority of our bodies over to our spouses. It's not a license for abuse, it's a license for use. And it just means we can't withhold from each other, and we can't use our bodies, be it for sex or be it for affection or be it for anything. We can't use our bodies as weapons or bargaining chips or anything like that. And here's what the Apostle Paul said. He said, if you're so spiritual that you want to fast sex for a while, he said, you can only do it with consent, and that means you can't do it apart from what your spouse consents to, and it can only be for a short duration lest Satan tempt you. The Apostle Paul understood there is a danger to unmet needs. When we get married and we're not meeting each other's needs, not only does it create a lack of passion and a dissatisfaction and a frustration, but it's an open door for the devil. And I want to say again, it is not an excuse for any person to do the wrong thing and to justify it, but it does open a door for the devil to tempt us in a greater way. And so I want to talk about the rejection of the inherent differences in the opposite sex. Now, the 4 major needs of a man and the 4 major needs of a woman are completely different. We have certain things in common related to, being men and women and marriage and things like that, but our 4 major needs are completely different. Let me say this another way. If you married someone normal, they're not like you. I know that doesn't sound good, does it? And I'm sorry that if you married someone different, they're not like you. Now let me talk for just a minute about pornography and about soap operas and romance novels. Because, these things, I was visiting a relative the other day and they had a soap opera on, and it was the first time I'd seen a soap opera in a long time, and it just kind of reminded me of this. But in the world of men, pornography is a big problem in today's world. But here's what pornography does. It's not just the naked bodies and the sex that is the problem with pornography. There's a lie in pornography. And that lie is that a normal woman isn't as complicated and as emotional as your wife. That there's a woman out there and she's not complicated, she's not emotional, she just wants sex all the time. In other words, you can find a woman who has a woman's body but a man's psyche. And I love this one. There's this commercial on TV about this service that helps you find your soulmate. And this guy found a woman that, she loves football and she loves all the things that he loves. She's lying. She's lying like a dog. He'll figure out one of these days she's just as complicated as every other woman. It doesn't matter if you marry your soulmate or not. They're different than you are. And I hope you have a lot in common. You need to have things in common. But there's a lie in pornography that says you can find a woman that isn't different than you are. She doesn't have different needs. She doesn't have a nature. No, they're all different. There's a lie. In soap operas and romance novels and the things that cater to women do the exact opposite related to men. It's the same issue though. And what it says is this: there are men, unlike your husband, that there are men who are just very emotional. They love to talk. They're real feely guys that stay inside all the time, and they don't smell and they don't scratch and they don't, they're not like the jerk you're married to. And there's a man out there who's a man on the outside, but on the inside he's a woman. But it's not true. It's just a lie. And what happens is, if you believe that message, see, it's not the medium that is the danger, it's the message behind it. What happens when you listen to that is you begin to reject your spouse. See, you already think they're weird. You know, when I got married to Karen, I was very attracted to her on the outside, but I just thought she's the weirdest person on earth. How could you be that weird? Normal's like me. When you're not like me, though, you're weird. It just depends on how unlike me you are, you know, to really measure how weird you are. She was the weirdest person on earth because everything was different. I mean, every need. And so how could she be normal and not be like me? Now, I want you to listen. This is a breakthrough in your marriage that you've been looking for. Your spouse is the opposite of you, and they're normal. See there? And I can hear brains popping right now. I can hear it. It's an audible sound. It's, how can your wife is normal. Her needs aren't your needs. Her nature is not your nature, but she's normal. Your husband is normal. When we reject the inherent differences in our spouse, what happens is we begin to tell each other about the needs that we have, and we roll our eyes, and we become sarcastic, and we put each other down. I want you to listen. When you reject my needs, you reject me. And rejection is the greatest pain that a human being can feel. Love is our greatest need. Rejection is our greatest fear.
Thank you for joining us. Partner with Marriage today and receive the Marriage on the Rock series on CD or DVD. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. Marriage Today's latest book, Happy Happy Love, will supercharge your marriage with practical tips, wisdom, and inspiration for every stage of marriage. Visit happylovebook.com. Become a rock-solid partner today and equip yourself with the tools you need for a successful marriage. $14, $28, or $56 per month. Choose the partnership level that's right for you. Become a rock-solid partner today.